what's on the thing. Give me all the details. She done brought her best friend in there. She could have put her life in danger, but she didn't care. She wanted to know what was on the disc.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, so, she needs some adventure.
This is the difference, I think. This is the difference between being raised in the South, Lisa, like you and me, and being raised a sister in London. Because a sister in London would be like, me from Florida, I'm like, listen here, Ben, don't you ever slip nothing in my pocketbook again. Now, I'm going to get this back to you. And as the pastors would say, whatsoever you do, I don't want to see you. I want to see you or this little tube of lipstick again. Because I had never been mugged until you slipped this in my pocketbook, and not 20 minutes later, I'm knocked down and on my knees, and not in a good way. So, no.
So how did you not think that he could have potentially been involved?
Right. Because we didn't know anything about him.
First instinct. Did this dude have me mugged?
Look, I'm serious. I don't know. So being in the closet, fake it until you make it, princess, and gripping my booty like that, I'm like, after you felt my booty, you ain't going to throw me down unless it's in a good way. Maybe that's just me. I got that kind of booty. That's just me. But that is not where I went. I'm sorry.
Not the booty.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't go there.
Okay, so let's move forward just a little bit.
Okay.
So we're in a situation where we've gone from the closet to her going home from the party alone without her boyfriend, to her getting mugged on the street, to her arriving at home and her boyfriend saying, "Where the hell are you? Where the hell were you?" To her finding out that this gentleman asking for his file back is actually her boss, who then offers her a new job, and she says she has to think about it. I worry about this girl because she thinks about a lot of things that she shouldn't have to think about twice. And then she ends up in a situation where he's asking for his file back. She says no, but then somehow these two end up becoming friends again. And if I remember correctly, there was a careening truck involved with them.
Nobody said nothing about that.
And all I can think is give that man back his stuff and move about. It might be a good time to find a new job, too.
Yeah.
Get away from him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
and we don't know who these things are happening to.
That is true. Now, where I'm from, my husband would call Libby a schlep rock. So a schlep rock is the person, when you hang with them, something always go wrong. So Libby would be a schlep rock. So I'm like, girl,
but she only
every time
that when she met Ben.
I know.
She wasn't like that before that.
This is why I kept questioning, please, Libby, girl, try and save yourself. I absolutely loved her best friend, Telly, because Telly be like, girl, I don't know about this. In fact, I think Telly was actually created to say, girl, I don't know about this, because she said it throughout the book in her own way.
Hold up. Tilly does not get a perfect pass from me. Okay. And I will tell you why. Because if I come to your door, Miss Siera, and I bring somebody else's property with me, like a file, and I say, hey, I need to know what's on this because somebody slipped it into my purse at a party and they want it back, I would suggest, in fact, I will highly suggest that you say, girl, get it back and mind your business. Please. Okay. Please, give this back and mind your business.
Don't bring me in on this, man.
This is not for you, and please don't put me in the middle of something that might get us both killed.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
I didn't say she was the
Tilly
best.
Does not get the perfect pass.
No.
Tilly,
okay.
In fact, Tilly reminds me of the friend that you have that says, girl, we have to get good sense, and we should have good sense, but only after we do this thing.
Okay. I can go for that. Now, I'm going to have to take you somewhere different. So, no. Okay, are y'all ready for this? So,
Okay.
the settings in this book were so vivid. I have never been to London. I felt like I was there with these characters. Like, they are just so vivid in this book. There are details in this book that I was like, I need to look that up. Like, I would love to see that and what that looks like. And I felt like Ben's voice was so authentic. Like, I really want to talk about Ben as a character because my husband, like, we listened to a part of this book on our Saturday drive, and Ben was like a guy's guy. Okay, like he's not a very soft man. He's kind of direct with what he says, and maybe his internal dialogue is a little bit softer, but he's pretty direct with what he wants and what he thinks. So, what did you all think about Ben once Livy agrees to their arrangement? Because it really wasn't blackmail, in my opinion. But I'll just leave it.
It was a bribe.
Bribe is better.
But not blackmail.
Bribe is better.
Yeah. Michele?
So, one, that's great. Ben is a little bold from my opinion because this is a gentleman who was happy to punch out the host of a party that he was invited to. After insulting him, I mean, he insulted everything from his anatomy to his looks to the choice of people who would want to spend time with him, and then he punched him. So Ben is a little bit of a hothead, in my opinion, and I don't necessarily know that I would agree that you would be 100% safe in Ben's company because Ben invites a little trouble. I liked Ben. If for no other reason than I liked the trouble. I did a tandem read on the book. So I read the book partially and I listened to it. I thought, just to veer away from the description of Ben, I thought the gentleman that did his voice was great. I loved when there's a scene where there are two hoodlums who go after them and attack them while they're going on the Jack the Ripper tour. And I remember going through that neighborhood where the tour was taking place the last time I was in London. One, I'll say I very much felt like this was someone who had taken the time to go see it, and that's always a worry when the writer is American and the book is set somewhere else, number one. I am only a visitor. I will say that I've only visited London. I did not ever live there. So someone who lives there might have a different temperament. But as someone who's visited, I felt like I got that. I thought that he managed the voices for people from different parts of London very well. And I appreciated that. Honestly, I thought that the young lady who did the reading for Olivia very much captured Nana Malone's voice in a lot of ways, and it felt very much like, oh, this narrator has spoken to Nana and made sure that she could get that voice right. I got that very much from the audiobook. But yeah, the original question was if I liked Ben. That was a whole tangent about
I'm thinking you did from all that. Okay.
I enjoyed this very much. And
well, for me, I absolutely love Ben. He was my favorite character in the book. And I love an alpha male. So he was straight alpha, all alpha. The way he engaged with his mates, oh my God, he was so funny. And you could tell he was the one in charge. But the way he wielded his power was, yeah, you're going to do it, but I'm not going to hold an iron fist against you because you're my best friend. They joked and they laughed together, and I loved his power, but he used comedy as an undertone. Like at the party when he punched the guy, you knew what he was doing because you could hear his friends in his ear telling him, "Oh, we need more time." So it was for a reason. He wasn't actually aggressive with the guy. He didn't like the man, but he wouldn't have just put himself out there like that on a normal day. But because he knew he needed something from him, he made a spectacle of himself. He wasn't afraid to do that. I love that part about him. I loved his quips and how sexy he was when he was talking to Livy in the closet or any other time. He just was always using a sexual innuendo, but it was in a way that you didn't get offended by it. You were like, oh, okay, he's funny, he's cute, I like this guy. And what I really loved about him was when he got with Olivia finally, when they first started kissing each other or whatever, you could see his respect for her. Because anytime she froze up or if she pushed him away, he immediately let her go. He immediately stepped away. He was always wondering, are you okay? And when they actually had sex and it hurt her, he stopped. And he was like, oh, I didn't mean to hurt you. He was willing to get up off of her if necessary. But she was like, no, I'm fine. The night in Paris, when they were getting ready to get into it, and she heard the phone chime and she stopped, he immediately got up. And he didn't whine. He didn't get upset. He wasn't mad that she stopped him. He just was like, let me hold you. That, I was in love with Ben after that. I'm like, oh, I like him a lot.
You know when I fell even harder for Ben? When Livy decided to cook for him. So let me just tell you this. Ben is rich, if y'all didn't get that. Ben is rich.
He's a billionaire.
Ben don't know how to cook. He
got the old
don't
money.
know. Yeah, he does not know how to cook. So there's a point where Livy wanted to just do something nice for him, so she cooks. And Ben's response is, you know how to. And I was just rolling. Like, he's so surprised that this woman can actually cook.
He was like, I don't know anyone that knows how to cook.
Yes. And to me, that's so authentic because for us everyday folks like myself, I can't imagine not knowing how to feed myself and cook a decent meal. But if you have the type of money that Ben and his mates have and have access to and have had all their lives, like, you really may not know how to cook a meal for someone. And Livy explains it in a way where she's like, when you care about someone, like, you take the time to cook, prepare something for them. And it communicates a different message than taking someone out to eat. And as a Southerner, I can totally relate to that. Like, if you bring someone home and you make a meal for them, you're basically family. In fact, we usually start lying and telling people you're a cousin. But that's what you do in the South. Like, oh, that's my cousin. Then if anybody's like, oh, which side? Like, look, that's my play cousin. You don't need to know all of that.
My play cousin, right.
That's my play cousin.
That one out of the hat.
That's how it was when I grew up. Like, you didn't invite everyone to your house to eat. But the people that you invited into your home that like your mom fed or your grandma fed, like, those folks were special. They were in the inner circle. And for someone like Livy, who was kind of a loner in her own way, I felt like this was a significant step for her in how she saw Ben in her life.
Okay, so I have a slight feeling about Ben and his buddies, and you know where I'm going with this. The primary point of this story is Ben and his friends are trying to collect information because they're trying to push someone out of power from the private group that they belong to. And I don't know why I'm like blanking for a moment. The elite.
Yeah, the elite
society.
Just say what they are.
they're trying to push out one